East Broadway, one of the many blocks in Chinatown once under the control of the gangs. Known for landmarks like the East Broadway Mall and the former Sun Sing Theater, this street became the heart of Chinatown's growing Fujianese community during the mid-1980s. As the neighborhood changed, so did its underworld. The old Cantonese strongholds were being challenged by a younger, hungrier crew, the Fuk Ching. And at the center of it all was one man, AK. During the early days of the Fuk Ching, AK, who had not yet become Dai Lo, was eager to make a name for himself and his crew. To build their reputation, the Fuk Ching began encroaching on territories controlled by more established Cantonese gangs in Chinatown. One such move nearly cost AK his life. Around 1986, he was on East Broadway, a stretch firmly under the control of the Tung On Gang. There, he got into a confrontation with a Tung On Dai Lo named Tsui, better known on the streets as Bighead, along with several of Bighead's soldiers. Tensions escalated quickly, and the clash ended with AK being stabbed multiple times. That moment marked a turning point, a spark that ignited what would soon be remembered as the Battle for East Broadway. When Jimmy was a Dai Lo in the Tung On Gang, he had several members of Fujianese descent reporting to him. But things started to unravel when he discovered that one of the Fujianese members was planning on staging his own kidnapping and having the other members demand ransom money from his parents. The plan was whispered quietly in Fujianese, but word reached Jimmy. To him, that kind of betrayal broke every code that mattered. If a member could do that to his own family, what could they do to the gang?
Tell my father, I got kidnapped. You kidnap me. And then ask my father for money.
He told the other gang members to call his parents and tell them that
he got kidnapped. Yeah.
And they want a ransom.
Yeah.
So the parents believed it and gave the ransom to the
afterward, when my other kid told me and I found out, so you can think of it with even his own father. Okay, he can do this thing to his father. He can do anything to anyone. So why are we keeping this kind of kid on our group? That's why I kicked them out.
You're thinking if this kid can do that to his own parents, what can they do to the gang? And it was also against your principles and morals.
You can say that.
So you kicked them out. And then
After being expelled from the Tung On, the same men went on to join the Fuk Ching, giving the crew more numbers, more muscle, and a stronger Fujianese identity. Not only did the Fuk Ching expand, but so did the Fujianese population in Chinatown. As more families moved in, East Broadway, once a Cantonese stronghold, began to transform. The Fujian Association, located on East Broadway, became a gathering point for the community.
Because Tung On controlled all of East Broadway and Division Street. And they really wanted to muscle in on East Broadway because a lot of Fujianese people were moving into East Broadway.
Back then a lot of Fujianese. Certainly, like I think it's like between 2 years, Fujianese people just pop up.
I remember
the whole street is Fujianese.
I remember that within a couple of years, a lot of the Fujianese people started moving in.
Before it was only Cantonese people. You hardly see a Fujianese people in East Broadway. You live in East Broadway, you know that, right? And certainly, like every week, every day, Fujianese people come down and start hanging out in East Broadway. And after like a couple of years, the whole street full of Fujianese people. Before, I don't know where they come from. Okay, tell you honestly, I don't know where they come from. Afterward, you find out that they have boat coming every single week. And when they just got to US, they was East Broadway is the East Broadway is the first place they meet their family. Always. That's why Fujianese people always hang out at East Broadway.
East Broadway is known as like Little Fujian, basically.
Yeah, and because the Fujian Association is in East Broadway. That's why. So
that's why they really wanted control of East Broadway, and they really tried to take it from the Tung On. But the Tung On Gang was a lot more established. They had a lot of members.
Soon, Fuk Ching soldiers started moving in, demanding protection money from local businesses. But many of the businesses were still Cantonese, and the Tung On had controlled that street for many years. If the owners spoke Cantonese, the soldiers would walk away. If they spoke Fujianese, they knew they had a target for extortion.
The restaurant or the store, anything, and first they go to spoke Fujianese. With the owner of the store or the restaurant answer them back in Fujianese, and they do the extortion. If they answer them back in Cantonese, they just left, turn around, they left.
Because they know that they cannot really go up against the Cantonese. They've been in this country a lot longer than them. And
back then it's like this.
They're not going to go up against the Cantonese. But now the Fujianese are here a lot longer.
Now it's like...
One day, Ake was walking down East Broadway and was spotted by Jimmy and two of his crew members. Tensions escalated during the confrontation, which led to Ake being stabbed several times by the Tung On Gang and sending him to the hospital in critical condition. He almost died. A couple years later, Jimmy went to Rikers Island on a murder charge, and Ake would eventually serve time there as well. When Ake found out that Jimmy was on Rikers Island, he hired a non-Asian inmate to kill Jimmy. But the plan was foiled, as Jimmy had spent so much time inside and had earned respect amongst his fellow inmates. The would-be hitman warned Jimmy, and the plot failed. At one point, Jimmy and Ake even ended up in the same cell before trial.
Yeah, but he found a wrong guy.
So he found he found a black guy to a hit.
The black guy come to me and talk.
Actually knew Bighead because Bighead spent so much time in Rikers Island. He had, I guess, so-called seniority and...
Yeah, senior.
Yeah, he was one of the senior guys. So he told Bighead about the hit.
Yep.
So
that's how I found out.
Yeah. So that was the war between the Tung On and the Fuk Ching. That was the long-running battle between
when the Fuk Ching first started.
But of course, later on, you know, if you follow the news, the feds decimated TO first, Tung On, and then that's when the Fuk Ching took over all of East Broadway. The Tung On lost East Broadway, Division Street. Basically, there was no more Tung On after that.
No more.
That was it.
Law enforcement eventually cracked down on the gangs. The Tung On Gang was decimated before the Fuk Ching, leaving a power vacuum on East Broadway. The Fuk Ching moved in quickly, taking control of the street and running it for several years. Their reign lasted until events like the Golden Venture incident disrupted their operations. Afterward, the crew continued to operate under different names, eventually going inactive by the early 2000s. Stories like this are only a glimpse into the wars and battles that shaped Chinatown streets. For every gang that rises, another falls, but the legacy of loyalty, betrayal, and survival remains etched in the city's history. East Broadway may have changed, but the battles fought here in the 1980s continue to echo in Chinatown's story.